Well, here we are, BI 275 students. We're at lesson 6. Can you believe how fast these weeks have gone by? Oh, it's been a delight to read your papers, and I'm so glad that you have presented in your videos. I'm enjoying looking at them. I've asked Dr. Greg to come back in again and give us a little bit about evaluation and the importance of it and why do we do it.
Chapter 11 talks about evaluation. My definition of evaluation is something like this: comparing what is the present condition with what ought to be or what could be the desired condition for the purposes of continuing or changing, that's hard, or creating a new direction, or crashing or stopping. A lot of times we keep having to do things in ministry over and over again in teaching, and it's fulfilled its purpose. It needs to stop. And so we evaluate where we are, where we'd like to go, and so that we can take the next step. The next step often is continuing, changing, creating something new, or it's also stopping something. And so as you read evaluation, you'll notice that there's some evaluation that you do before you teach, some evaluation you're doing while you're teaching. That's the genius and the art of teaching. You'll notice that people aren't quite with you. Like this particular day that we're taping this, we had an all-day walk through the Bible seminar, and about 3 in the afternoon, we'd been there all the way since 9:30 in the morning, and we're on the prophets of the Old Testament. And I said, okay, people, I'm doing a walk through the Bible seminar. I'd love to have you guys join me in this, because they were a little tired, and there was a little humor there, and everybody got back on board. We had a great time, a great ending. Well, that was evaluation in the teaching time. So sometimes we evaluate before, sometimes we evaluate during, and we're always trying to evaluate so that we can say, okay, here's where we are, here's where we want to go. What should I change? What should I do? What should I create? What should I continue? And sometimes, what should I stop? And then there's the evaluation called the post-evaluation, that we look back on our teaching and say, okay, how did that go? So that we can continue to make better. My estimation is that evaluation is a tremendous tool, because what it does, Eldon, is it helps us say, okay, here's the benchmark. Here's the best I could do. Now, how can I make that a little bit better? A little bit better. And I think in ministry, I think you do that in your ministry programs, in your preaching, in the teaching ministry. I think we can get better and better at teaching if we think of ourselves not as master teachers who have arrived because we've done great or we've gotten an A or a B in our teaching the Bible class, but we've learned the foundation of setting a high benchmark and then making it a little bit better, making it a little bit better. And so benchmark and improvement, I think, is really a good way to use evaluation even in our own personal teaching. In your book, it talks about an evaluation grid, and I think we've made available a teacher evaluation grid from the materials that's, pretty extensive, 4 or 5 pages, where you can say, okay, here's how I'm teaching right now. Here I want to set the best mark that I can, but then I want to get better by next year or next month, or so that you continue to improve in your teaching, because we want to be the best teachers of the Bible that we can possibly be.
Reminds me, in our church, we've got a guy that's gone through AA, and he has a famous little statement: insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results each time.
Doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. Evaluation, that's how it's done. So thank you.
Well, and chapter 12 is a really great chapter because it talks about how to stay fresh in ministry. There's some great quotes from some experts on that, because I don't feel like I'm an expert. I just went to the people that were able to stay fresh in ministry over a long period of time. I think your teacher is somebody that has stayed fresh in ministry and has continued to look at the Lord. So I'm very impressed. I know he's my brother, and I'm probably paid to say this, but I'm so impressed.
How much do I owe you?
Well, you owe me coffee now, but I'm so impressed because he stays fresh in the ministry, and he does many of the things that are talked about in chapter 12, because sometimes we can get stale in our teaching ministry, and then it gets boring even to us. And if we're boring, if we want the student to bleed, then we better hemorrhage. And so, we need to continue to work on that. And so that's why we need people that have been in ministry a long time. How did you stay fresh in that? And then look at some of the principles in chapter 12 and see if they don't apply to your ministry where you're at right now.
Well, thank you, Dr. Greg. And we'll be in touch with you students as we go along. God bless you.